Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 29 of FTB Interactions. Today I would like to expand on this ore processing system we've built and really get into the meat of this pack's special ore processing. So let's take a look at, maybe platinum ore for example. Right now for our platinum ore, we are taking it and processing it with our fortune hammer. That gives us about double the yield of pulverizing it. So it gets us about 4 platinum, crushed platinum per platinum ore. That's not half bad, right? But what if we want to do better? Well, by shining starlight on it, we can turn it into dense ores. However, if we just process this, we still only get about 4 per. So that hasn't really given us a better case. We can make it more automated, sure, but if we dive deeper, the next step involves a chemical reactor with mana and life essence. Both are resources we have more or less automated. No, we have completely automated. Except maybe not in tremendously high quantity. But still, just keep that in mind. We can turn that into a concentrated blood shard. Of course, it doesn't stop there. Then into a plasma arc furnace with blazing pyrotheum, we get a platinum crystal. Don't stop yet. Then into an autoclave with UU matter, we get platinum ore clump. Keep going. And then into a crucible with some of these aspects, we get 32 native platinum clusters. So basically, from one piece of platinum ore, we can get 64 crushed platinum ore. That's the ultimate yield that this pack has to offer. So let's try to do it. We might run into a bottleneck, but I think at this point we have the technology to go all the way. There will be some challenges, and that's the fun of it. The first step in the process we're already familiar with. Shine starlight on a piece of ore and wait for it to transform into dense ore. So we have to use a lens because there's no direct line of sight from where I built my collector, but there we go. And when it transforms to dense ore, it gets picked up, stored here. Alright, there's the easy step. Next step's also pretty easy. I just need a storage bus on mana and life essence and then send this into a chemical reactor. Here's a drum of mana. It's not backed by the fastest mana production, but I think it'll end up being sufficient, so let's just use it. If we have to, I can set up a dedicated grid of light wells for mana, kind of like we have for starlight, although I'm hoping to be able to afford that. Anyways, that's mana, and then life essence we have plenty of, right? Yeah, both of these drums are full of it. I had to run a really long ME conduit out to here to get to our life essence, but it's done now. I just have another P2P connection here so that I'm not, well, I am running dense conduit all the way, but this dense conduit can now, if I need channels anywhere out here, I can just split off of that. On that note, I'm starting to run out of sides on my controller. Every one of these colored ones is in use, so I have these 2 that are free, and I think that's it. Of course, nothing's keeping me from using the interior sides here, and of course, there's all the sides on the bottom. So I still have some that are technically accessible, although perhaps I've set this up to be a little bit more difficult than it had to be. Well. This step might actually be even simpler than the first one. Of course, that's disregarding the production of life essence and mana, but I'm sending them both with a single fluid export bus with a capacity card, and then I'm just pulling the items out of the chest, putting them into here, and they're turning into concentrated blood shards. Alright, step 3 is a plasma arc furnace with blazing pyrotheum. There's a couple other uses. Well, is that, how often, do I need more of this? Maybe? No, I don't by the looks of it. Alright, so I'm going to pretend, I'm just going to have a dedicated fluid extractor. I assume that's what this made is? Yeah, a fluid extractor for this machine. I was just contemplating whether or not I needed to put liquid blazing pyrotheum as if I need to put a fluid storage bus on it, but it doesn't look like it's used for anything else. So I'm going to go with no as the answer. A fluid extractor takes pyrotheum dust, which is made by our friendly chicken, and turns it into liquid blazing pyrotheum, sends it over to a plasma arc furnace, which takes concentrated blood shards, and I guess, I don't know, it dips them in it, I guess, leaving us with some phosphoric acid as well. I don't know, how much do we need phosphoric acid? I know there's a very cool phosphoric acid loop that very easily lets you create infinite of it, but are there, that's how to make it. Are there any good uses for it that we should keep, is there any reason to keep it around, I guess? Yeah, not really. Alright, I'll store a tank of it, and after the tank fills up, I'll just void the rest. At this point, things get a little bit more complicated. We've exhausted the easy steps. It's not unreasonable just to take this crystal and say, alright, we made it to 16x total yield, good enough, we'll call it. However, it's fun to keep going, right? And the infrastructure we build for this will be useful later. So, UU matter. UU matter is made in a HV mixer of positive and neutral matter, and each of these are made in a mass fabricator, either with fluids, or I believe you can give them items. Yeah. And it takes quite a while. I believe the amount of time is directly proportional to the total output. So there's no, well, I'm going to take a quick look just to be sure, but I don't think there's any clever item you can use to be like, haha, by using this item, I get super efficient production. But it could be like, using an item like this, maybe that's not a good example, but some otherwise useless dust, you can get a lot of matter, and you don't have to consume a lot of input. I don't know. I'm going to scroll through this a bit and find something that I can use. Bauxite here seems like a pretty good choice. I have, excuse me. I have a lot of it. It produces a lot of output per piece of input, and best part is it produces positive and neutral matter in almost the same proportions. That makes it more convenient for consuming it because it allows you to, when turning it into UU matter, you use equal parts. Positive and neutral matter. Now, there are a lot of replicator recipes that do not use equal parts positive and neutral matter, but so far everything uses more positive matter than neutral matter. Is that? Oh no, never mind. That's not a universal statement. So once we start making positive and neutral matter as well as UU matter, that actually opens up the use of the replicator to us. Which for, if there's certain dusts, say molybdenum is perhaps one of them, that are somewhat difficult to craft or to find, we can just replicator it. Anyways, I think the trick though is that the mass fabricator is not cheap. An Eevee mass fabricator, oh boy, I can make quantum assemblies, right? Yeah, okay, good. However, the trick here is that the field generator requires osmium wire and nether stars. So nether stars aren't bad. Oh, we can do it this way. We can make an Eevee field generator with quantum processors. Oh, that's so much better. Oh no, it's the same. Never mind, it's the same recipe. Except, wait, why would you ever use this one then? You can make it with the more expensive or the less expensive circuit. The more expensive circuit even takes more time. What a debate. All right. But in any event, we do need osmium. So how are we going to get osmium, you ask? Well, I believe we can get osmium ingots as a byproduct from, well, let's first see, do we have to freeze it? We do. But we have to get osmium from osmium dust, which I believe is a byproduct from iridium ore, which we have because we got that from our Chaos Island. So osmium is from purified iridium ore with pulverization and centrifuge. All right, so let's let's get some iridium or wait, did I say iridium? Is that the right one? Yeah, iridium ore, and process it down as far as we can to this state. So ore goes in here, and then eventually we get iridium crystals out the other end. All right, so and then after this is done processing, I'll take these iridium crystals up to our space station and run it through our ore processing, which if we configure it to run this through the ore washer, which I will, then this will give us some amount of osmium byproduct. Here we are once again. I think these can just be smelted, right? Yeah, so put them here. They'll run through our multi-smelter. Up out the other side is iridium clusters. Come into pulverizer and get pulverized. And then, actually I want to add you to the blacklist right now. I do not want crushed iridium ore to directly get pulverized, and I want to add it to this whitelist. I do want it to get washed. So the wash stuff then should come over here. Yep, where it's getting washed. The output of the washers goes to here, purified iridium ore, which should then get distributed between these pulverizers, which it appears to be. And I've already forgotten where items go. I think at this point there's no more configuring I have to do, right? Let's take a look. Do we have any osmium yet? Aha, already, there we go. We already have 35 pieces of osmium dust. To process osmium dust into osmium ingots takes a blast furnace and a long time, 10.5 minutes at MV. So let's use our better than MV blast furnace. It should take, oh boy, it's still super slow, isn't it? How much osmium do I need for a mass fabricator? I need 2 field generators worth. Each one is 4, or each 8x wire is 4, so 16, 32 pieces of osmium. Yeah, I guess I go faster. Can I do it 4 times? Just barely. Just to double check my math, I put the recipes into the AE system, and indeed, it is still 32 osmium ingots. Good news is we're not missing anything else, so I guess I'll just sit there and accelerate a blast furnace a few times. I find myself accelerating blast furnaces more often than I think I should be. I think we're ready. One mass fabricator coming right up. Thank God that the ME system can handle all this nested crafting. I would go insane doing it. Alright, but I wasn't just twiddling my thumbs time and bottling a blast furnace. Well, I mean, I kind of was. But I also prepared all the other things we need. So, let's have this ender fluid conduit be a stand-in for our mass fabricator for now. We'll want to export bus some bauxite into it. It takes it at Eevee tier about 3 minutes. For reference, if we were to do it at MV or at LV tier, which is the lowest tier that, you know, the lowest tier mass fabricator that exists, it would take a hair over an hour. So for recipes that are over 32 EU attack, the overclocking behavior is pretty good, right? 2.8x per tier. So it's about 1 hour divided by 2.8 to the power of, let's see, MV, HV, EV, to the power of 3. I'll want to store our positive and neutral matters in quantum tanks because I never ever want to void this stuff. This is so hard to make that I'm going to treat it very preciously. Anyways, after that we can take some of each, put it into a mixer, and I believe the mixing step is actually very fast. Let's see. UU matter. Yeah. Well, you only produce 20 millibuckets per operation, but it's, 1.5 seconds at HV. And since I'm running at EV, it'll be even faster than that. So the mixing operation here is fast. Let's extract and insert. All right, and then once we have it from here, I want to store that in a tank. Because there's uses for just the positive and neutral matter, I don't want to turn it all into UU matter, at least not quite yet. And then we can use this UU matter at some point to turn these platinum crystal, or to turn crystals in general, into the next level. I guess we'll need an autoclave, but that turns them into ore clumps. All right, let's check up on the crafting status of that quantum assembly, or the mass fabricator. It's making quantum assemblies. So that's here. Faster. Now we're talking. One left. I wonder, is there a quest for this? Oh, there wasn't. Maybe there is and I just haven't unlocked it. That's entirely possible. All right, so bauxite goes in and we're off to the races. It takes it again about 3 minutes, but I do get to accelerate it. When accelerated, I guess it'll take about a minute and a half to process a piece. Thankfully, we get quite a bit, right? We get in total like over 700 millibuckets for one piece of bauxite. First operation is finishing up. And I already did that. All right, so now, wait, is it not done? Oh, I guess the tick acceleration wore off, so it slowed down at the end. All right, and here goes. UU matter, haha. I recall seeing there definitely was a quest for that, so where is it? Aha. If we make 1 bucket of it, the quest reward is 64 more buckets. That's pretty good. All right, let's oh yeah, because you add the two together to make UU matter. So I guess once this finishes this next cycle, we will have 1 bucket of it. Huh, that's great. 1 bucket of UU matter, and ooh, this is a good quest reward. 64 more buckets of UU matter. Have you ever thought to yourself, what does it taste like? Well, let me tell you. Oh, never mind. Let me not tell you. I can't place it in the world. I was going to drink it with a straw, but that's apparently not happening anymore. Alas. Now that we have our UU matter, we can run our ores into here. This is the next step. And they just get turned into clumps. It only uses 10 millibuckets each, so it really doesn't use all that much UU matter. The 64 buckets we got as a quest reward covers, what, 6,400 items? So like 100 stacks we can process off just the quest reward UU matter, not to mention the fact that we are producing it at a non-trivial rate. All right, so that's clumps. And now for what is perhaps the hardest step, we have to send it through a crucible with Desiderium and Potentia. Let's start by setting up digital Essentia storage, so we don't need all of this stuff anymore. Conveniently, we've gotten arcane crafting terminals from dungeons, I believe. So plugging this in, we can now do our arcane crafting directly on the ME system. We still need the, what's this thing called? The Workbench Charger? Yeah. We still need a Workbench Charger for the arcane crafting terminal so that it can draw in this from 9 chunks instead of just the one it's in. Let's make one of those. That's what this upgrade is, I believe. Without the charging upgrade, we only have 100-ish, and with that we have 2,000-ish. Nice. Now on to actually crafting the Essentia storages. I like to go directly for 64Ks. Oh, there's no JEI sync mode on this, I guess. Alright, so let's see how this recipe is. Looks remarkably similar to the standards, like the standard Essentia storage, or rather the item storage variant, except it uses Salus Mundus instead of processors. Alright, I guess I'm going to need to craft a lot of Salus Mundus. This, thankfully, recently got a manual crafting, or rather an auto crafting recipe. It used to be you had to craft it on the workbench, but now you can make it in the mixer, thankfully. So I'm going to need a mixer filled with mana. Let's see about auto crafting. I don't know, 500 Salus? Sand, you say? I should really get on that that Cobbleworks at some point, huh? But for now, I'll just pull sand out of the magic sandbox as needed. There's one small problem with trying to autocraft these 64K cells, and that is that we can't autocraft 1K cells. These only have an arcane workbench recipe, and the arcane workbench cannot be automated. So I have to craft these by hand first, and 243 of them apparently, to make 9 64Ks. Actually, I think I might be able to get away with only making 8. Let's head up to here. when I first used my cheater's Thaumonomicon, I got these as quest rewards, or not as quest rewards, but like research rewards. And I'm willing to use the first set of these. I know that I can give my cheater's Thaumonomicon to a mechanical user, and each time it uses, or rather, each unique mechanical user that uses it will also get this set of items, but that's definitely a bug, and I'm not going to abuse that. So, let's try that again. To make nine more of these, how many 1Ks do I have to make? Only 203. That's gotten better. I ended up settling for 16K storage, or Essentia storages. I have two 64s, one from a quest reward, one from the research reward, and the rest will be 16s. That should still be more than sufficient. Next up, we need a way to import Essentia from these alembics into our ME system. Before I take down my jars, though, there's one more infusion I have to do, and that is to make the Essentia Infusion Provider. This is how I let the ME system send Essentia to the Runic Matrix, or to a whatchamacallit, the thing we'll use to automatically do alchemy recipes. And now it's time to start emptying jars. So let's link this up, and once these turn on, for now I'll have these Essentia import buses. I'll be placing jars in front of them one by one to let them drain the Essentia out of it, and that goes pretty darn quick. When all my jars are drained, what I'll do is I'll hook these directly up to our arcane alembics so that they can automatically drain any Essentia that we create and store it in digital form. We no longer have need for all of these worded jars. Ready? Ha 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 ha! These actually drain extremely quickly, so I figured I can just do this and I'll clean them out before they despawn. The digital Essentia storage, however, or digital Essentia storage system is not without its faults. The biggest one being there's no level emitter equivalent, so you'll never. It's impossible to measure how full your digital storage is, and it's possible to tell which aspects you have a lot of, or more importantly perhaps which aspects you are short on. Now, I built a system that works around that in my Celestial Journey playthrough. If you're interested in it, check it out. I think the episode's something called like Mega Essentia Smelter or something. I don't intend on recreating that system in this pack because there's just not nearly as much Thaumcraft usage in this pack. I'm more or less, I think, happy just manually filling our Essentia Smeltery with the items as needed, to meet demand. Anyways, now all of our Essentia is stored digitally, but we still are not providing it to our altar. So let's get one of these Essentia Infusion providers. If we place it, I guess, let's go here. That should be in range. Well, it's definitely in range. And we place one of these emptying, or we want filling or emptying? I think we want emptying. Let me make a couple emptying infusion transfusers. Oh, nice. We had one presumably from a quest reward. That's maybe a good thing because, oh no, this isn't an infusion recipe. All right. Well, anyways, plug all this in. And now, if we do infusions, the Essentia for it will come out of this Essentia Infusion Provider. And actually, do we even need an empty transfuser on this side? Maybe not. I don't need this, do I? Let's run an infusion just to test things out. I'll make another one of these Essentia Infusion Providers because I'm reasonably confident we'll end up using it somewhere down the line. So the Runic Matrix is not drawing in Essentia from the provider. Although the provider does show up as a source. Is it maybe out of range? No, there's no way that's out of range. Oh no, it is drawing in Essentia, never mind. I guess I just wasn't patient enough. So yeah, you don't need a emptying Essentia transfuser to power your Runic Matrix. It just has to exist close by. And haha, another one. In order to check how much Essentia you have in your system, a Essentia Terminal can be used. Sort it by, I guess it doesn't matter how you sort it, but yeah, this can tell you how much Essentia is in your ME system, and I think it can actually be used to fill warded jars too, maybe? Maybe not. None of the clicks seem to work, so I guess not. Can it fill files? Do I have any empty ones? I swear it could fill. Okay, so it can fill files, but not jars, I guess. Sure, why not? The two aspects that we need for ore processing are decidrium, which comes from, at least I prefer to get it from something like gold. It's unfortunately only just about 1/2 decidrium, but I don't know of a better source. For potentia, you have redstone, which is 100% pure source, and those are the best. So let's process some of each of this down. Now what I'm going to do is, at least for now, I'll just hand process these. Maybe if I find myself processing a tremendous amount of ores, I'll set up a secondary system that will automatically make redstone or make potentia and decidrium when our stocks get low. However, to do that, I have to store them in something other than digital storage for the reasons I just mentioned. Because I'm going to be doing a fair bit of Essentia smelting, in order to not create rifts, I'm going to have a mechanical user with a flux sponge, and I think that should do it. It doesn't play the sound. I guess what I can do is I can get a thermometer and just check, is there any flux in the chunk, right? Nope, looks clean. So I think our mechanical user is doing its job. Why are you stopped? Oh, you're not. Alright, cool. Now that we're producing the Essentia we need for this next step, we have to actually do the alchemy. That's done in a thaumatorium. So let's place this, I guess right here. Aha! Let's see, how exactly does this work? I've already kind of forgotten. I think it's, you know what, let me just read the Thaumcraft book instead of trying to guess. Something doesn't look right. The actual thaumatorium is 3 blocks tall, right? It's a crucible and 2 things, whereas this is only 2 blocks tall. So I'm going to break it and just get my components back. I guess that's, yeah, it's missing bits. I don't know. I have enough of these. I'm just going to place them all down, and if I place it 1 block higher, does it? No? Ooh. Oh, okay. Everything's exploding. Whatever. I'll just take Biochemical Constructs. That's really the difficult part of it. So to build this, you start with a heat source. Niter works, or you can just light fire on netherrack or charcoal, the low-grade charcoal that never burns out. Then you need a crucible, so throw some Salus Mundus on a cauldron. And then you need 2 alchemical constructs. 1, 2. And then throw some Salus Mundus on the entire thing. Alright, there we go. That's an complete thaumatorium. I guess to make it with the item form, I have to place it on top of a crucible. Whatever. You don't need to pump water into the crucible, conveniently enough. And what you do is you pump items into one of these input ports. So in this case, I want to pump these platinum ore clumps into, I guess we'll use that input. Next, you go right-click the thaumatorium and choose what output you want. This step's a little unfortunate because it means that for each different type of ore you process, you have to choose again. And now this will automatically craft when it receives these aspects, this Essentia. However, there's nothing giving it that Essentia right now. So put an emptying Essentia transfuser on one of these ports and a Essentia infusion provider somewhere near it, right here. And what this will do is this emptying Essentia transfuser will automatically suck Essentia from the Essentia infusion provider, and as you see here, do the crafting. So all you need then is some type of chest. You know what, let's go with a very big chest. 300 slot modular storage. Put it in front of the output here, and the output is automatically dumped into there. So this is pretty neat. as long as our ME system then has enough potentia and decidrium, I think that's how it's pronounced, this can craft. Now, the rest of these ports on here, you may as well put Manamic Matrixes on. That way you can have it remember more than one recipe. So right now, this thing can only remember the one recipe, and that's the platinum one. When it's done processing that platinum and this tungsten ore clump goes in here, it can I have to once again come back in here and reselect tungsten ore clump. But then it'll forget how to make platinum. So if I insert more platinum ore clumps in here, I have to come back and click the button again. For each Manamic Matrix you put on, you get an extra, I think it's 2 recipes remembered. I don't even know how to spell that. So by default, it holds 1 recipe, but by using 4, I guess there's room for a 5th one. You can have up to, I guess, 11 if you have all 5. So now let's even save some of these platinum ore clumps. We can now teach it tungsten, and here it says 2 of 9. So later down the line, I can put the platinum back, and it can continue processing from there. But yeah, now we have 64x ore processing, at least to get them to the cluster state. Now all I have to do is transfer these clusters over to our void world, where we can process them the rest of the way into ores. I'll just use a pair of linked ender chests to do the transport. So let's head over to the space station. And because these are already clumps, we can bypass the lag spike. Can't bypass the lag spike, unfortunately. We can bypass the smelter, though. So we can put it alongside the smelter's output chest and extract from here. I'm using red, white, red. I don't know, no particular meaning to that. Or is brown the right color? Yeah. No particular meaning to that color combination. And let's get some extraction speed up. So now our relatively rare ores like platinum or tungsten, or even stuff that we just want very high yield from, like we use a lot of redstone. So for my remaining redstone ore, instead of, right now I've been squeezing it to get 5 each, but if we go through this entire process, let's, out of curiosity, let's see how much we actually get. Ooh, it goes to the cloth rate. Alright, anyway. It's like an awfully inefficient way to make redstone to me. Who am I to tell you what to do? Anyways, we get 12 per native cluster, so we get, oh boy, lots of math. We get 6 stacks of redstone per piece of redstone ore. That's pretty high yield. Now, of course, that will jam the daylight out of my this entire processing setup, because redstone explodes into so many dusts when you pulverize it. But still, it just means that 1 stack of redstone ore can go a really long ways and make a lot of redstone dust. And in the case of crushed platinum ore here, I think I would rather have, well, I know I would rather have iridium than nickel, so I'm going to go ahead and schedule it to be washed as well. The default state for any new ore you add is to not wash. If you want to wash, I have to add it to the white list to send to the washer, and the black list to skip the washer. In the case of this tungstate ore, I guess I'd rather have manganese than silver, so I don't want to wash it. That's easy to do, I just don't do anything. That's the default state, as I mentioned. And there we have it, 64x ore processing done within the span of 1 episode. Of course, the magic to actually doing that is taking advantage of all of our pre-existing infrastructure. If I had to build, the blood altar and the mana collector and I don't know, the chicken that lays pyrotheum, right? If I had to build all of that, that would take well more than 30 minutes. But because we had all these bits and pieces of our infrastructure laying around elsewhere, we just had to put it together, and the final product is a lot of ores. One last thing for today, let's queue up a bunch of osmium in our 1 blast furnace that's capable of smelting it, so that next time we need osmium, I don't have to wait on a blast furnace. At some point I'll set up a dedicated blast furnace for it, but we are out of time today, so that'll have to be a project for another time. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.